Hey, hello guys. So today we're going to talk about subject and verb agreement. Okay, so basically a subject and a verb in a sentence, they must agree. Okay, so what that means is that this must agree with this in number. They must agree in number. So in the present tense, how do you do that? You add an S or an ES to the base form of the third person singular. Okay, so for example, here's our singular. He skates. And notice how we have the ES on the end here. Why? Because we need to put the S next to the E. And here, she wins. We're putting that S on the end. But this changes in the plural. So if we could look here for a second, in the plural side of things, they skate. So notice how that ending, just an E, and they win. Notice how there's no S. No S on this ending. The verbs be, have, and do also change form to agree with what? Their subjects. Okay, again, you'll always find the subject before. You'll find it before the verb. Let's look at the example. I am climbing. So here the form of to be changes to this. I am climbing. Here we've got you are climbing. Notice how are changes in this case. She is climbing. This is the second person. This is the third person singular, 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 and this is the first person singular. That's all those changes. Same thing happens with the verb have, and with the verb have, except first and second person look very similar. Second person singular and then third person singular. Notice that S you see in both third singular and third singular. Also here as well. First singular, second singular, third singular. So the first and second person singular are pretty consistent, but that S shows up. Now let's look at the plural. We are climbing. Okay, again, this looks very much we are, you are. It's basically identical to the second person, as well as this one. So we are, you are, and they are. Notice too, all of these plurals are identical to the first, and in this case, the second person. And it's the same case for these three. First person and second person. So as you can see, there's a lot of repetition, but in the first, second, and third, there can be quite a few changes as well with the form to be and sometimes have and do. Okay. I think that's pretty good for now. Let's go ahead and move on to the next part I wanted to discuss. So let's do a few practice exercises together. Right now I'm going to pause this and I want you guys to see if you can do number 1 and number 2 on your whiteboards. Okay? So go ahead, do 1 and 2 on whiteboards, or a piece of paper if you have one, or paper if you can't find any of these available. Okay, and then we'll come back in a second. Okay, so if you've had time to answer, let's go ahead and look at number 1 first. Okay, so fossils. Let me just zoom in a little bit here. Oops. Whoop, didn't want to go that far. All right, let's go ahead and do this first one. So fossils is, or are, very fascinating. What we want to do is underline the form of the verb that agrees with the subject. That's our task, to underline the form of the verb that agrees with the subject. So we want to look here and say, okay, my younger brother, should it be have or has a large collection of toy dinosaurs? We want to identify which is the ending, the proper ending we should use. Let's go ahead and practice that. So with this first one, fossils is or are fascinating records of the past? Well, fossils is plural, and it's a third person. So when it's a third person plural, we want are. That's the form of to be that we want. Are fascinating records of the past. Number 2. They, us about plants and animals of long ago. They tells us or they tell us? Well, let's look. They, that's the third person. Is it singular or plural? Well, it's actually plural here. So plural form takes the verb tell. Takes the verb tell here. Okay, so that's enough practice. We'll do a few more on your own, and then when we come back, we'll maybe go over the rest. Okay, that should be it for today.